Let's talk about the single most important asset you own, the one you carry around with you 24/7, your brain. We're going to explore the actual science and the real strategies for upgrading this incredible supercomputer so you can build a truly limitless mind. Let's get right into it. So, first things first, let's just tackle a huge misconception right off the bat. A lot of us kind of think of our brain like a computer, right? You get the hardware you're born with, and that's pretty much the deal for life. But is that really true? Is your brain just a static piece of hardware? Well, the answer, thankfully, is a huge, resounding no. For a long time, even neuroscience kind of thought the adult brain was a fixed processing unit. But we now know that is just completely wrong. It is not static hardware, it's dynamic, flexible biology that can literally physically change and reorganize itself. So, how does this whole rewiring thing actually work? Well, that's exactly what we're going to get into in our first section, looking at the fundamental science that makes it all possible. The fancy scientific term for this incredible ability is neuroplasticity. And this is the core idea of everything we're talking about today. It is your brain's power to form brand new neural connections and reorganize its own structure based on what you learn, what you experience, or even in response to injury. And the best part? It can happen throughout your entire life. And if you think that's just a theory, the real world proof is, well, it's just mind-blowing. Take the unbelievable case of Cameron Mott, a young girl who had to have half of her brain removed to stop these violent seizures. Her remaining hemisphere literally rewired itself to take over almost all the functions of the missing half. Or think about how blind people who read Braille show activity in their visual cortex. Their brain is learning to see using the sense of touch. I mean, this isn't science fiction. It's just hard proof of how unbelievably adaptable our brains really are. Okay, so knowing our brains can change is one thing, but how do we actually direct that change? That is where the limitless framework comes in. It's all about what you need to address to really unlock that incredible potential. This quote from brain coach Jim Quick just hits the nail on the head. So often, the biggest thing holding us back is our own belief in our limitations. I mean, if you're constantly telling yourself, oh, I'm just not good at remembering names, you're basically programming your brain to not even try. If you fight for your limits, yeah, they're yours to keep. See, the key to breaking past these self-imposed limits, it isn't just one magic trick. It actually requires a structured approach. To become limitless, you've got to systematically upgrade 3 totally interconnected areas of your life. It all comes down to what's called the 3 M's. First up is your mindset. That's what you believe is possible, what you think you're capable of, and frankly, what you think you deserve. Second is your motivation, your purpose, your energy, the why behind what you're doing. And third, you have the methods. These are the specific processes for learning, like how to read faster or improve your memory. And you absolutely need all 3. Without the right mindset, the best methods in the world won't stick. And without motivation, you're never even going to bother to apply them. All right, now that we have the framework, let's get to the really fun stuff, the practical tools. In Section 3, we are opening up the Neurohacking Toolbox and looking at specific, actionable techniques you can start using like today. Okay, here's an incredibly powerful one for your memory. It's called the method of loci, or you might have heard of it as the memory palace. This technique is literally thousands of years old, and it works because our brains are amazing at spatial memory. So, to remember a list, you just mentally place each item in a specific spot within a place you know really well, like your own house. To recall the list, you just take a mental walk through your house and see the items exactly where you left them. It's surprisingly effective. And your methods aren't just mental, they're physical. It starts with your fuel. What you eat literally becomes your brain. And the science on this is crystal clear. You want to cut the added sugar, which actively impairs your hippocampus. That's your brain's memory center. And at the same time, add in those omega-3s. DHA and EPA are the literal building blocks for your brain cell membranes. They basically make your brain's entire communication network stronger and faster. And they help fight inflammation, which is a major enemy of a healthy brain. All right, now look at this number, 30%. What on earth could possibly give you a 30% boost? That sounds almost too good to be true, doesn't it? Well, that is the performance increase you can get in your reaction time and your thinking speed simply by staying properly hydrated. Your brain is about 75% water, so even being just slightly dehydrated can have a massive negative impact. This is probably one of the easiest biohacks there is. And here are 4 more simple but incredibly powerful lifestyle upgrades. First, morning sunlight helps set your body's internal clock for way better sleep. Second, a quick brisk walk boosts blood flow and oxygen right to your brain. Third, just 10 minutes of mindfulness can literally strengthen brain connectivity. And finally, and this is a big one, stay off your phone for the first 30 minutes of the day. When you grab your phone the second you wake up, you're training your brain for distraction and reaction, not for focus and intention. Okay, so we've covered a ton: the science, the framework, and the tools. But let's be real, knowledge is pretty useless without action. So in our final section, we're shifting the focus from just learning to actually doing. Now, with all this information, it's easy to feel a little overwhelmed. You might be asking yourself, this is all great, but where do I even begin? The key is not to try to do everything all at once. So here are 3 dead simple, concrete things you can do tomorrow. And listen, just pick one. Seriously, just one. Get that 10 minutes of sunlight. Try the memory palace on your next grocery list. Or commit to that digital detox in the morning. The whole goal is to take one small step, because little by little, a little becomes a lot. And I really want to leave you with this final thought. The power of neuroplasticity means that the small, consistent actions you take today are literally wiring the brain you are going to have tomorrow. First, you create your habits, and then, inevitably, your habits create you. So what habit will you start building?